Hey everybody, what is going on? So in this video, we're going to talk about the economic impact that the shutdowns are having on Disney parks and really overall Walt Disney Company. Before I do that though, I wanted to say I was on Disney Family Man 23's channel yesterday and we talked about this very same subject in depth. I think we went for like just about an hour on this topic. It was a great conversation. Link up above. Check it out. Give him a subscribe. We dived into so much stuff. It was a really, really thoughtful, fun conversation on the economic impact. So check it out when you get a chance. So I wanted to make my own video though about this subject. Now, I see a lot of dialogue online. Well, you know, Disney's a multi-billion-dollar company. They can survive. Just keep Disneyland closed until 2021. It'll be okay. They can afford it. I see a lot of that kind of like overall mentality when it comes to these shutdowns, and it kind of scares me, to be honest with you. Companies are not invincible, Disney included. Okay, I don't care how much money Disney has made in the past. I don't care how much they made on the Avengers Infinity War. I don't care how much money they've made on the parks. There's a threshold for every single company. And if they're not making money, and if the money is being either completely stopped or it's being throttled, they're going to take a beating. And no company can survive that long term, including Disney. Disney is not invincible. You know, I've seen like so many companies that, you know, a few years ago, if you said, oh, well, they're invincible or, oh, they're not going to go anywhere, ended up, you know, completely collapsing. Sears is one example. Okay. That company was around for over 100 years and they're gone now. Right. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Sears was a different situation. You know, it was this, that, and the other. And that's why Sears went under. It doesn't really matter, you guys. It doesn't really matter what the reasoning is. Okay. Every company is going to have a different reason as to why they collapsed. That's irrelevant. The point is, these companies that were once, you know, very strong ultimately failed, right? So Sears, if you were a kid in the 80s, which I was, the Sears catalog was like the Bible almost. I mean, in the 80s, Sears was king. Every Christmas time, it was like, oh my gosh, looking at that Sears catalog, it was a huge deal. Okay, if you would have said in the mid 80s or late 80s that Sears in the 2000s would have been completely gone, you would have laughed it off. You went, no way. Sears, come on, it's the biggest company around. They're not going anywhere. And that's the same mentality I'm seeing a lot of Disney fans with Disney. You know, oh, Disney? Oh, come on. They're fine. Look at all the money they made with Avengers. They're fine. They're fine. Well, you know what? I love this company so much. I love the Walt Disney Company, and I am worried about it being around, you know, in one piece after these shutdowns. I am worried. You know, no company can withstand hit after hit after hit. And this is a big hit. This is worse than 9/11 in terms of economics. Okay. You know, even with 9/11, Disneyland was only shut down for I think it was only that day, and it reopened the very next day. Now we're talking Disneyland being shut down since mid-March, and there's no end in sight in regards to Disneyland reopening. And I know a lot of people kind of have this attitude like, well, Disneyland's a small park. You know, they don't really matter too much. You know, Florida is really Disney's bread and butter. And that is really, really, really not true. In a lot of ways, that is false. I've talked to a lot of people in the company, and they've confirmed to me that Disneyland, because of the different, you know, demographics, you know, it being more local, more annual pass based, they've actually kind of carried the parks division many times during economic difficulties. You know, Florida is very, very tourism based. So you got to plan a flight. You got to book a flight. You got to have a hotel. You know, it's a week-long endeavor. It's very tourism, out of state, out of country focused, right? In times like this, in times of like COVID, in times of like 9/11, that resort takes a bigger hit than Disneyland. Disneyland is more annual pass holder based. So it's basically quote unquote free to get into the parks. You just got to buy lunch, you got to buy dinner, but it's like going to the mall basically, right? So Disneyland can withstand these economic hardships a lot better, and it's been shown to withstand these economic hardships a lot better than the Walt Disney World Resort. So to have Disneyland, which is kind of like the supporting role in terms of the parks division when economic disaster strikes, having that park shut down is a big blow to the parks division, a big blow. And I know a lot of people in Florida and just in general kind of have like this poo-poo attitude of like, well, it's a small park, who cares? It makes a big impact on Disney's bottom line, trust me. I've heard that from multiple people, credible people from inside the company. Disneyland plays a huge role in those numbers, and for it to be shut down, it's not good, guys. It's not good. So I really hope that we can get the company back on track. I really hope Disneyland reopens soon, and I really hope that even the parks that are already open, like Walt Disney World in Florida and Shanghai and all these other parks, I hope we can start to get to like a full capacity and really start to get the engine rolling again. And I've said this before in a lot of videos, and it was kind of an unpopular opinion, and probably still is an unpopular opinion, but the numbers for COVID are always going to go down when you shut down the economy. If you have everyone at home with the doors locked and not leaving the house, the numbers will go down. The same thing would happen with the flu or anything else, okay? You can bring the numbers down with that method. The minute you reopen the economy, the numbers are inevitably going to go up. They're always going to go up when you reopen. So does that mean we never reopen? What do you want to do? You know what I'm saying? You're always going to have a spike when you reopen. We can't all live in our homes and have a shut down economy forever. Even with the vaccine, and I've said this a million times, even with the vaccine, you're still going to have people getting it. You're still going to have people, unfortunately, dying from it. We have a flu vaccine. People still die from the flu. It's not a fix-all. So we're going to have to learn to evolve and change, with the virus. It's just the reality of the situation. So those are my thoughts on this. I am concerned about the Walt Disney Company's economic, the current economic state for the Walt Disney Company and the parks division specifically with these shutdowns. I don't think it can sustain this for much longer. I think they really, really have to up it, in terms of reopening. And look, I'm gonna say another thing. I think politically, I think if there is a light at the end of the tunnel, I think politically, if you look at a lot of these states that want to continue the shutdowns, like California, they're blue states. And again, it has nothing to do with politics. This is just the reality. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. I don't really care. It's irrelevant. The reality is the blue states, the Democratic states, they get a lot of their money from Hollywood. Even if you're a Democrat, you recognize this, right? They get a lot of money from Hollywood. So I would be very, very, very surprised if it hasn't happened already that Bob Iger, Bob Chapek, Universal Comcast CEO Brian Roberts starts to get in the ear of governors like Gavin Newsom and telling them, you got to reopen these movie theaters. We're dying over here. You got to reopen these theme parks. We're dying over here. Money matters, you guys, in politics. Believe me, it matters. And when Hollywood is donating to people like Governor Gavin Newsom, which there's nothing wrong with that, okay, but it's the reality. They care. Their opinion, Bob Iger, Bob Chapek, Brian Roberts, their opinion matters a lot to people like Gavin Newsom. A lot. Okay. And they can say, no, it doesn't affect me at all. It affects them. Trust me. Okay. So hopefully that happens and they start to pressure and we start to get, the movie theaters open, and hopefully we get some guidelines in California for the theme parks to reopen. So we'll see. So I'm hopeful, but I am concerned. So what are your thoughts? Comment below. I would love to hear from you guys. And remember, I did that collabo. I just want to kind of reiterate with Disney Family Man 23. I linked it at the beginning of the video. I'm going to link it again in the end card so you can click on it either way. It was a great conversation. But thank you all so much for watching. I really, really do appreciate it. And as always, have a magical, magical day. Bye-bye.